Welcome everybody to lecture 8. Here we'll consider a few more consequences. The first of which is a continuation of the last discussion we had last time. These are consequences of Lorentz transformation in special relativity. I will discuss these examples very briefly. I have written in some detail the arguments, but this is where these are kinds of problems, although not necessarily set as homework. So you have to exercise your mind a little bit, read books and get better clarification. I want to sort of insist that you put in a little bit of effort to understand things on your own. So my explanation will be by default a little brief. First, let us try to understand this muon lifetime issue from the rest frame of the muon itself. Last time we resolved the problem by looking at the muon from the Earth's surface. Now look at it from the muon's rest frame. There, when it is produced, the distance of the muon from the Earth is something like 3 kilometers or so. Now, in its rest frame, it is produced at t equal to 0, say. Looked at from this spatial point, which we can call x equal to 0, the surface of the Earth is coming up towards the muon with a speed 0.995 c. It is crossing the muon in 2 into 10 to the minus 6 seconds, because that's when the muon decays. It has to cross within that time if the decay has to be recorded on Earth. Now, if you multiply 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 by speed of light times 0.995, it is 600 meters only. But it is actually 3 kilometers away. Then how do I see, standing in the surface of the muon, the Earth crossing it by the time decay takes place? Look at it in the following way. The length of the atmosphere between the muon and the surface of the Earth is x, and x equal to v times t, where t is the time through which the Earth is coming up towards it. In the Earth's frame, however, this t is t prime, which is t over square root of 1 minus v squared over c squared, because the Earth's frame is moving with respect to the muon. Therefore, looking at this thing from the Earth's frame, the length that is crossed is v t prime times square root of 1 minus v squared by c squared, which after a little bit of calculation is 600 meters only. Let me explain a little bit more. From the muon's rest frame, the moment it is produced, its location and also the location of the Earth's surface both get fixed notionally at the same time. From the Earth's frame, it is an elongation of the rest frame decay time. That is why the muon is able to be recorded. Now, reconstruct the argument from the muon's rest frame in your own way. I have given you only a hint. Now we consider a few more paradoxes related to special relativity, but let me emphasize that these are not actually paradoxes, these are consequences. Paradox means something which violates the logic of the theory. Actually, it is consequence of the logic. First is the twin paradox. Consider the time dilation formula again, which we have considered many times already, and consider a pair of twins A and B. A is fixed to the Earth at some time t0 on the Earth's surface. B moves away at a very high speed, very close to C in a spacecraft, and B returns to Earth a few years later. B is moving with respect to A, so the B observers should find observer A, his twin brother, age more during the period. So he or she may come back and find her twin brother moving, I mean, with respect to her all the time, and more time has passed. So she should see A aging faster or aging more, becoming older than her, although they were twins. But the same thing can be said about A looking at B, because A sees B moving and should see the same. When they meet, A can find her getting older. The answer is that there is not an absolute parity between them. A is always on the earth and fixed to an inertial frame. But B first accelerates away and then decelerates back to the earth. This acceleration and deceleration has a sort of compensatory effect. B is singled out between the two. They are not exactly equivalent positions. So the dilation effects will cancel out before return, because there will be a kind of reverse motion through deceleration again. Of course, the fact that the effects cancel out requires a little more calculation and a little more sophisticated argument involving phenomena in accelerating frames, and that is beyond the scope of the present discussion. So I just say it to tickle you to study further at a later stage. But the bottom line is that actually A will have aged more, because A is at a frame where he or she is seen moving, and no acceleration or deceleration subject him to cancellation of the aging effect. Next is the example of a pole and a bar. Suppose there is a barn or a long hall, 10 meters long, and I'm standing in front of the barn. There are two closed doors or two open doors, let's say. This is page 44. And I see a person moving with a horizontal pole in his hand, a pole vaulter, towards the door of the barn. Suppose I find, standing on the earth, this length to be 15 meters. But the person is moving very fast. And suppose as a result of this, the person standing there will see the pole being contracted to 10 meters. So he can run through the front door and get all the way in running at that high speed and fit in. But as soon as he enters, I completely close the front door and the later door also as soon as this person gets in. But then what? Then how does then the pole vaulter is bound to stop, and then the distance again between the front and the back end of the pole becomes 15 meters. So how does the person fit in? What is the answer? I'm giving a brief answer, that when the door is closing simultaneously, the two doors are closing simultaneously in the earth-based frame, they do not close simultaneously in the moving frame of the runner. The door B will be seen to close first, and door A will close when the back end of the pole is yet to get in. That by default, the runner will be prevented from entering. So after this, I have two examples which I don't want to read out. These are solved examples, but I want you to go through them on your own. In the other cases, I know I was very sketchy with my argument, but that was deliberate. You now apply your own mind, read the books, including AP French, and figure out the arguments more precisely if you wish. But as far as these problems are concerned, the first problem is entirely solved. So you can see the second problem is not fully solved. The first part is solved, and part of the second problem is set as homework, because there is problem A, or part A of the second problem, where I want you to justify each step very precisely in your assignment submission. And for part B, I want you to actually solve it and by working out. So you submit this problem as your assignment. So this is where we end. Thank you very much.